me as well. I have been assigned a topic to speak on Jal Sanrakshan, water conservation. Well, dear participants, I'm sure that we are going to engage about maybe for 45 minutes or so. And in the end, I would like to have few interaction, maybe 5 minutes or so, if Dr. Chaudhary permits. Jal Sanrakshan, water conservation. As we are witnessing this year, in the current time, heavy downpours almost every nook and corner of the country, but we are handicapped to store those water or route them in a proper way. This is a question why we are not able to store or conserve those water. That is a big question. We'll start with this question. And I would like to project some of my thinking or the experience which I gained in practicing my profession, and I have learned over 40 years, being as a student or as a staff member. But overall, I still consider that I'm still student only. If you permit, I would take the help of my slides and then talk. I would like to share my slide. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Slides are visible. Hello.
Yes, sir, slides are visible.
Okay. This is just a display topic. Maybe, I mean, I understand this is an international training. So I may be informed that whether there are a lot of international participants also, those who do not understand Hindi, I guess. Is it so, Dr. Chaudhary? Or the coordinator? I begin with, it is okay. I begin with, in this, all of you are aware with this, I'm just highlighting Sharir and Jal. So for living being, the Jal or water is very important for everybody, all the living beings, plants, vegetation, birds, you name any living organisms. Water is important for them. So there is a concern for water. Let us review the network of human body, because in the first slide, I just referred body and water. Why I am referring or reviewing the network in human body? Because for this learned audience, I am going to give you a guesswork. If you assume our body and you assume India map, and let us see if we could draw some analogy. This is a skeleton in the body. And if you assume this body as India map, so if you see this skeleton on the India map, you see road network, rail network, air network, fiber network, electricity network, telephone lines network, and many, many things. if you see this one, this is a nerve system. Now this is wireless, the mobile network, the entire mobile network I would call as a nerve system. Anybody can remain connected with his dear and dear ones, no matter how far they are displaced over the continents. But when the cell rings, you get connected, you get energized, whether it's your beloved or your mother, father, children, you name anyone. So these human body has a lot of network, and it works on the same pattern. For the development of a country, we have developed all kind of network which I just mentioned. This is another network. This network is artery network, and this is vein network. The artery suggests the supply of fresh blood, clean blood, to each and every cell and tissues. And the venous vein network, it transports safely, not that pure blood, and pass through the kidney, and then again it gets cleaned, and in the system it circulates. Now, this system I see in the country, river system or irrigation water supply system or drainage system. This is just to warm you up. And let us look at where the Jal Sanrakshan, water conservation or water storage could be. From the rainfall is the main source. We have two options: surface water storage and the groundwater storage. Often it is said and stated time and again that the groundwater reservoirs are much bigger than the surface reservoir. Some people may believe it, confide with this statement. Some may not, some may get confused, but you will see here that India has 690 billion cubic meter of surface water, but it has a capacity to save or store 257 billion cubic meter of water volume in 5,500 dams in the country. And 80% of the water is used 206. Let me tell you, fellow participants, that this 80% water, surface water for irrigation, is not fixed. If you attend any high table or the policy makers, you can listen this figure. Somebody says 75%, some says 78%, some says 80%, some says 84%, and blah, blah, blah. I am myself experienced. So I just put 80% of water. And irrigation efficiency overall in this country is just, I have assumed 50%, but it is less than that. So I'm a little bit, higher side. So the loss comes 103 billion cubic meter. 103 billion cubic meter is the loss in the irrigation sector. But this, down the line, this calculation suggests 140 crore people daily consuming 120 liter of water, and the days of year leap year 366, just to be bigger calculation. So it comes 63 billion cubic meter of. We need 63 billion cubic meter of water for Jal Jeevan mission. But we are incurring losses about 103 BCM. Now here is the trade-off for this set of participants who would be seeing the year of 2030, 2040, 2050, 2060, and 2080. Do not know. So this is the equation. The losses in irrigation sector is 103 million cubic meter, and we need to get at least for 142 crore people annually only 63 billion cubic meter. This is a question mark. Now you remember 257 billion cubic meter of water storage. This is the groundwater I'm talking. Groundwater has 447 BCM, but 408 BCM could be utilized. Now here itself you can see how the groundwater reservoir is big one. Hello, somebody is raising hand. You have some doubt to ask question, or I can see some person is raising hand. Hello?
It is a humble request to each and every participant. Please raise down your hand. You will be giving the time to ask your question after the end of the presentation.
Thank you. Yeah. So here, 408 BCM is we can utilize in as a groundwater, whereas we have 257 BCM in surface water in just 5,500 dams. So here you see quickly 788 districts in the country, and they are divided into 6,746 units. And out of those, 206 districts, they are in a very critical state as far as the availability of groundwater concerned. They have overexploited. So you can see about the water situation in the years to come. This I'm just sharing the statistics. Now, what is the scientific view? हर संभव प्रयत्न करके वर्षा जल के संभरण द्वारा भूजल सतह को बढ़ाना, ये बहुत आसान बात नहीं है. इसमें समय लगेगा, उसको हम बताते हैं कैसे समय लगेगा. You see that in the world, the first tube well was drilled in 1820 in the USA. In India, the first tube well was drilled in Punjab, at the United Punjab, in the the erstwhile big India. 1930. So we are close to 2030. So now in 100 years, we have overexploited groundwater. Basically, if I am permitted to say so, that always from the groundwater reservoir viewpoint, the discharge was always much more than the recharge. So that was the imbalance, and it created, its consequence was many rivers dried up and many vanished in 100 years. And even, the major rivers of this country, their capacity is also reduced because of the siltation for several years. What I want to flag here is that imagine before 1930 in this country, and right from 1930 to, go backward to the infinite time, maybe thousands year, 5,000 year, whatever you want to assume. In the system, in the natural system, the recharge discharge was happening only through the rivers and the artesians. And that was the reason everywhere water was available and we were happy. But Imagine that in 100 years, we have exploited or rather consumed the entire groundwater reservoir of the country. So if you look at slowly, some of the districts, as I mentioned, 206 districts of this country, out of 780, they are in a critical zone, but that they have already, in the red zone. So how the groundwater storage can be enhanced? Now the country has जल शक्ति अभियान, दो बड़े बड़े लक्ष्य हैं, हर खेत को जल, हर घर को नल से जल. Now कब तक मिलेगा लोगों को? हर खेत को जल, हर घर को जल, ये कैसे होगा? ये अंदाजा लगा सकते हैं कि कितना पैसा खर्च होगा और कब तक ये होगा? This is a question for all of you to think with regard to water. Now I believe in this mantra: think big, start small, act fast. We did not do the last one, act fast. We did not do that so far. Let me put one disclaimer here that my talk later to this moment would be very provocative. The disclaimer is that it is purely on technical. I mean, I am keeping myself away for criticizing any system or anybody or past or future. No, not at all. Purely for the thinking ability. In this domain, the responsibility for water conservation lies on 142 crore population. So here, taking this mantra in mind, let us see that how big thinking had been in our country. We are very blessed. The inter-basin water transfer, the river water, was the first national water grid by Dr. K.L. Rao, 1972. For the younger generation, I would like to spend a little time to tell who was the Dr. K.L. Rao. Dr. K.L. Rao himself was the union minister in the Prime Minister Indira Gandhi's cabinet with the portfolio of irrigation and power. At that time, it used to be the Ministry of Irrigation and Power. He was a dam expert, and he said that in 1972, that we should have national water grid on the line of electric grid or any other grid. Then in 1977, Captain Dastoor said that we should have a Garland Canal. They were visionary. Let me tell you that we started with Jal Sanrakshan. अगर जल जहां नहीं होगा, संरक्षण किस बात की होगी? जैसलमेर, बीकानेर, or in any year, some area is, stricken with some drought or no rain or deficit rain. So if there is too much of water, but we do not have container where we will store. So for container or for, utensil, I'm using symbol, dam or reservoir. If we have very limited in all these years, so where will they store it and how the linking will be done? The idea was that wherever water resource was excess should be stored, and through the interlinking of river, it should be circulated entire country. Then it came interlinking of river by Vajpayee government as late as 2001. He started at that time. Mr. Suresh Prabhu was the chairman of the task force for interlinking of river, if some of you can recall. But then it did not happen anything, after that. Then finally in 2014, there is a verdict of Supreme Court that India should go for interlinking of river. The above mentioned point given by very influential leaders of the country could not be achieved till date. The time has come to accomplish the long pending task by means by all means to make Indian farmers independent of climate change and monsoon. The philosophy here, this green part I have just added from my own thinking, that with that kind of proposition, things can happen. Let us look at what Prime Minister proclaimed in 2015, first time. He said that farmland is like human body. I started in the beginning to, with the analogy. He said this in 2015 first, and then repeated on May 26, 2017. That is how we started reviewing human body. Now, let us see AV model. AV artery vein model emerges from an analogy. Samrupta ya samanta, ye comparison hai. AV refers to the artery and vein system of the human body, which I mentioned. An analogy of human body has been drawn to the cultivable land of 140 to 155 million hectare of area of our country. Now look at the same picture. Here I would like to tell you why the same kind, lot of network is there in the cyst body, cyst human body. All other networks got developed in maybe 75, 80 years in the country. Initially, we had only 34 kilometer, maybe Bombay, VT to Thane, and then it stretched to 150 kilometer of rail. Now we are talking about lakhs of kilometers of rail network. We had only one highway from Peshawar to Calcutta. Only one highway. Now you talk, we talk in the statistics like Delhi. Delhi, these many kilometers were road constructed. Then you can imagine that in last 20 years, how the communication has taken place, and mobile network, every family has a mobile, even the vendors, the poor vendors do have, they are doing business with mobile. What I want to say here is that in all these investments, the amount has gone from thousands of crore, maybe 35 years, 40 years ago, now to lakhs crore of investment. In all those sectors where you invest, so you get revenues, lot of profit. But in artery vein system, since there is water is a free commodity, not defined as economic good, so no private vendor is coming for investment. Government also doesn't have enough fund. Even whatever networks were created in last 150 years on the canal network, right, the British regime to till date, we are almost short of fund even to maintain them. So the catch here is that all other networks were built with a lot of investment because there were investors, they were seeing profit and getting revenue. But in water sector, that is the one reason I wanted to flag you guys. Please do remember that this, and tell me, unless there is a network in this country landscape, how the water will reach every person, every household, how the water will reach every nook and corner of the country, because ultimately there has to be network, like the road network. I mean, many, maybe 30, 40 years, maybe 4 lakh villages were not, connected with roads. But now maybe few thousand villages are probably without roads network. So what I want to say here is that the kind of network, and this is a idea here that for artery vein is, unless, see here why I'm saying this aero drainage, because if there is no safe drainage from a household, there will be disease, there will be, sanitation problem, public health engineering problem, health issues, environmental issues, and things like that. Similarly, there may not be even safe disposal of water, so there will be flood, deluge, which is we are witnessing in the country. Also in the cities, the investment for drainage were not done. That is why many cities you are observing these days, rather the city is run, roads are, for operation of cars and buses. But now on the roads you are seeing sometimes boat because waterlogging situation in most of the cities. Now here, the human artery, vein, tissues and cells correspond to irrigation water supply, drainage, disposal water. Villages are the tissues and individual forms are the cells of body. This is how it compares. So can we make farmers independent of monsoon and climate change? Suppose, because of the climate change, we are witnessing very frequent cloudbursts and disasters. 2013, 2015, 1995, 2005, and now very recently 2025. You all have seen Dharali, Harsil, these are in the news. And also in Himachal Pradesh, maybe in Kishtwar, I think in Jammu and Kashmir. So these are happening. If there would be, what I want to try to make a case that if the country wants to become, it wants to develop or become a developed country by 2047, or if we want to face challenges posed by the USA or the China time and again, we'll have to see them in the following slides how it works. But this particular slide is very important. Can we make Indian farmers independent of monsoon and climate change? For this question, US has an answer. I will come to that. The China has answer. But climate change hota rahe, then the agriculture will prosper. Many things will happen in US or China. Why? I will just show you some evidence. Here I want to say that long-term investment of long-term gain as compared to the short-term measures. Rather than creating nationwide infrastructure, a waterway network is inevitable in the coming years. It is inevitable. Let us see this statistics. I have done some research. Large dam data. The USA has 19,700 dams, large dams. We can argue that USA has 3 times, roughly 2.8 times area, but India has 5,500 dams. Although India is supposed to have the highest coverage for irrigation because our weather conditions are such that we need a lot of irrigation, but we have only 5,500 dams. China had 22,104 dams. See, this is very important. During 2000 to 2024, in the last 24 years or last maybe a quarter century, China added 1,732 dams. Now the number is 23,841 dams, means over 70 dams per year. China made 70 dams per year in the last 24 years. And as per World Commission on Dam 2000, these 3 statistics are there. And we are struggling. I want to tell you that for 2 big projects in the country, Sardar Sarovar project and the Tehri Dam project, they took Sardar Dam, I think it was inaugurated by Pandit Nehru in the name of Sardar Patel in 1961. And this Tehri Dam, so these 2 dams took 30 to 45 years. Now you see the pace, how China is working. They are adding 70 large dams per year. So now they, with this capacity, they are in the position of making their farmers in USA and China independent of climate change and monsoon or seasonal rain and so on. Now, what is the goal of China and USA? Agricultural produce, fresh fruits and vegetables. All of you in the domain, you are last 3 months, you are seeing that USA is pressing us that they want a gateway for their agriculture produce, fresh vegetables, fruits, and more so of a dairy product. The China is planning, as you remember, that China planned in the last 30 years that their product would be sold in maybe 200 countries in the world. Now they are saying that in next 10 years, their fresh vegetables and fruits will be traded in all over the world. And they would be earning revenue because they are making investment in saving water. But everyone in the world, here, in policy change in our country, muft sichai, muft bijli. It has to be compensated some other way. I am sure that if we build enough water infrastructure, if the water supply is regulated or maintained, I'm sure that all the farmers will pay for money because everybody is paying the bill for mobile and data. You know, without data and network and mobile, nobody can live, you know. But imagine what about if the water is not there, the existence of lives and vegetation will be challenged. Now let's see, this is a symbol. I made this a very complex subject has been made very simple. सिर्फ प्लांट को पानी उसकी जगह पे चाहिए, बाकी सब लोग पानी के पास पहुंच सकते हैं. टाइगर भी सुना है, मैंने पढ़ा है, टाइगर भी शायद जरूरत पड़ने पे पानी के लिए, मैंने पढ़ा है लिटरेचर में, 300-400 माइल भी जंगलों में वो ट्रेवल कर सकता है, ऐसा बताया गया. मतलब कितना भी दूर जा सकता है. ये सिंबल कहता है इसलिए इरिगेशन के लिए हर खेत को पानी चाहिए, क्योंकि जब तक अगर अन्न फल फूल नहीं होगा तो हमारे पास कितना भी पैसे हो, कितनी टेक्नोलॉजी हो, हम सरवाइव नहीं कर सकते. वाटर इज दैट इंपॉर्टेंट. ये मैंने शुरू की. ये सिंबल ये बता रहा है कि व्हाई वी नीड इरिगेशन, क्योंकि प्लांट्स मूव नहीं कर सकते और सब कोई मूव कर सकता है. हम भी टैप के पास जा सकते हैं, हम भी अगर कॉन्फ्रेंस हॉल में हो तो जहां डिस्पेंसर है वहां अपनी ग्लास भरने के लिए जाते हैं, पीते हैं, बट लेकिन प्लांट्स नहीं जा सकता है. तो ये इसलिए इरिगेशन और ड्रेनेज, और जहां पे एक्सेस पानी है उसका सेफ डिस्पोजल भी जरूरी है, नहीं प्लांट उसमें भी नहीं रह सकते. ये मैंने थोड़ी हिंदी में लिख दिया था. जलापूर्ति की समस्या सामाजिक, आर्थिक, क्षेत्रीय एवं राजनीतिक समस्याओं का सृजन होगा. इसके इंग्लिश में हम बताएंगे. बृहद परियोजनाओं को पूरा होने में विलंब होता है, लोग एवं समाज लाभ से वंचित रह जाते हैं. हमने डिले किया है. 1972 में KL राव की बात को अभी तक हमने इंप्लीमेंट नहीं किया है. चाइना ने अपनी कंट्री की लोएस्ट जो रिवर, येलो रिवर, उसको, उसके पानी को वो लद्दाख के बॉर्डर तक, सॉरी तिब्बत के बॉर्डर पे ले गया है. और अब आपने सुना होगा कि दुनिया का सबसे बड़ा डैम वो तिब्बत के बॉर्डर पे बना रहा है, जिससे हमारी पानी व रिवर फ्लो कम होंगे ब्रह्मपुत्र में और हमारे टर्बाइंस नहीं चल पाएंगे. आप समझे. और हम लोग वाटर रिजर्व स्टोरेज के लिए 5500. यहाँ पे हमें कहना इंडिविजुअल एम्बिशन, दिस इज अ बिगर विजनरी स्लाइड. अभी हर स्टेट की लड़ाई है कंट्री में, विद इन सारे स्टेट्स की, हर इंडिविजुअल की, विलेज टू विलेज होगी, डिस्ट्रिक्ट टू डिस्ट्रिक्ट होगी, स्टेट टू स्टेट होगी. What I want to say here is for the sake of air and water, this individual ambition and cooperation ambition should be swapped. Cooperation ambition should take a precedence, not the individual ambition. This has to change. What I want to say here is that this ambition with regard to water has to change with the help of, with the cooperation of the entire population of this country, and it has to be it will be you guys, young people, who would be arguing for that. Why not for artery and vein? Why there is no investment? Why these countries do investment? Please see, this is very, very important slide. Causes of investment: socio-economic, political, geopolitical, and reputational consideration. Suppose the China and USA, with their strength of dams, their reputation will be strong in the world. They will not, they would be giver, not the beggar. Contribute to water resource development for sustainability. I'm sure that this training must be having some goal for sustainability. I want to underscore again why in the water sector there is a need of investment: socio-economic, political, geopolitical, and reputational consideration. When I talk geopolitical, इंडस वाटर ट्रीटी अगर हमने सस्पेंड किया है, उसका एक्सेस वाटर हम रोकेंगे कहां, रखेंगे कहां? हमारे पास बर्तन नहीं है, डैम बनाने में हमें बहुत लंबा साल लगता है, जो हमने बताया। तो अभी एक बार प्रधानमंत्री जी ने ये कहा कि वाटर सेक्टर में हमें जिस गति से हम काम कर रहे थे उससे 4 गुना गति से काम करना होगा, बट पैसा चाहिए, पैसा इज द कंसर्न। तो हम ये बताना चाह रहे हैं कि हमने वो सारे नेटवर्क विकसित किए और डेवलप्ड वर्ल्ड की तरफ जा रहे हैं, जिसमें पैसा लगाने वाले हैं, पैसा कमाने वाले हैं। लेकिन वाटर सेक्टर में पर्टिकुलरली 80% स्टेक फार्मर्स का है इरिगेशन के लिए। फार्मर्स बहुत पुअर हैं, उनके पास कोई स्टेक नहीं इतनी, इसलिए इसमें डिले हो रही है। अब आप जैसे ग्रुप ऑफ साइंटिस्ट, माइंड यू, एग्रीकल्चर का कोई प्रोफेशन टेक ऑफ नहीं कर सकता है अगर वहां वाटर की सपोर्ट नहीं है। If this I would like to underscore here. So for the sustainability, the investment has to be made. This is what I just wanted to emphasize. As I picked up, this was published on, I think, April 22. Mind you that the point which I am talking, this I have been talking for the last 15 years at different fora, different platforms. And I used to say in the conclusion of my talk that the India must invest. 15 years ago, I used to say 2-3 lakh crore. In 22, I said in Patna, at least 8 to 10 lakh crore needed. So here in this, it is said the Jal Shakti wants, it is written in this year's score that around, 9 lakh crore or something has been allocated, but there is some deficit of this much for the only Jal Jeevan Mission. हर घर को जल के लिए, हर खेत को जल के लिए अभी और आना बाकी है। ये जल शक्ति मंत्रालय ने इतने फंड का प्रपोजल दिया जिसकी अप्रूवल हुई है और इतना अलॉट हुआ है। जस्टिफाई इंक्रीज इन कॉस्ट टू टैप। This Jal Shakti wants this lakh crore more for flagship water scheme. Panel clears half. So that means adequate money is not there. This is just I wanted to, like this year, April. Now you see, for the Swachhata we talk now. This was, in the big paper, भारत में 23 राज्यों के 370 जिलों के पानी में फ्लोराइड अधिक है। This was 20th March 2025. Recent. That means ये फ्लोराइड थ्रेशोल्ड लिमिट से बहुत ज्यादा है। This is what is very important. This is, a very big advertisement for the water quality concern. That means if our groundwater becomes, polluted or contaminated, and then it will give a big threat to the health, because many innocent people in the country, they are taking unknowingly the groundwater at many places, because groundwater is also, widely consumed in the big cities. People are pumping water and so on. Now see that Ganga Action Plan 1985, it was initiated. Namami Gange 2014-15. What I want to say, Mahakumbh 2025, नदी में पानी की गुणवत्ता पे सवाल. What I want to say here is that we are engaged in cleaning Ganga right from 1985 to till date. The results are not there. The reason being, we do not have enough fund to invest in sewage treatment plant on the city. In Delhi itself, let's say there are about requirement of STP plants which can clean water and then dispose to Yamuna River, or in Uttar Pradesh portion, the Ganga River. Out of maybe 100 needed, I'm saying assumption, only 30 or 32 are in place, but they are not, all of them are not even functioning. So the business as usual has to change as far as water conservation is concerned, water augmentation is concerned, water recharge is concerned, whatever. कई नाम दो, चाहे जितने नाम दो, उससे फर्क नहीं पड़ता. फर्क अल्टीमेटली पड़ता है ग्राउंड वाटर रिजर्वायर की कितनी कैपेसिटी है, वो हम हर साल यूज करते हैं. सरफेस वाटर के हमारे पास बहुत कम कैपेसिटी, जितनी हमारी क्षमता है उससे बहुत कम हम बचा पाए. तो दैट ये सारा जो आर्गुमेंट है इस लेक्चर का, ये इस तरफ जाता है कि वाटर सेक्टर में बहुत बड़े इन्वेस्टमेंट की जरूरत है, तब हम वाटर को कंटेन कर पाएंगे और मेंटेन कर पाएंगे. A robust and functional irrigation and drainage infrastructure is needed to achieve the two goals. What is the two goals? हर घर को नल से जल और हर खेत को जल. तो बहुत बड़ी बात. तो समाधान क्या है? दीर्घकालिक उपाय, लॉन्ग टर्म उपाय, नदियों एवं महानदियों को आपस में जोड़ना. इसको हमने 72 से अब तक source development हेलो.
यस सर.
मैं थोड़ी देर डिस्कनेक्ट सा हो गया था. मुझे आप सुन पा रहे थे?
यस सर. हम आप अभी सर डिस्कनेक्ट होते, आपकी स्क्रीन विजिबल नहीं है, कुछ आवाज आपकी ब्रेक हो रही थी. देयर वाज सम नेटवर्क इश्यू फ्रॉम योर साइड.
अच्छा, कितनी देर के लिए?
सो फॉर लास्ट 2 मिनट्स.
ओके, तो आपने जो थैंक यू वाली स्लाइड नहीं देखे हैं आप?
नो सर.
अच्छा, किसी ने मुझे कुछ बोला नहीं फोन पे भाई. कौन सी?
सर वी वर ऑन द
32?
स्वच्छता अभियान. सर वी वर ऑन द स्वच्छता अभियान, गंगा एक्शन प्लान.
Okay. I was just trying to tell that we started to clean river Ganga in 1985, and again in Namami Gange was launched in 2015, and Mahakumbh 25 mein we all have seen the data, different contradicting data, but I mean all said and done, the pollution was there. Maybe it was diluted because of the flow of maybe Tehri Dam water and so on. So that was the concern. And here what I want to say here is that Hello. See, I just wanted to say that a robust and functional irrigation and drainage infrastructure is needed to achieve the two goals. Those two goals are हर घर को नल से जल और हर खेत को जल. A big investment is inevitable irrigation and for irrigation and drainage network. And जल संचयन या संग्रहण के परंपरागत तौर तरीकों को अन्वेषित करना होगा, उन्हें पुनर्जीवित करना होगा. दीर्घकालिक उपाय में नदियों एवं महानदियों को आपस में जोड़ना होगा और इस बड़े काम के लिए हर घर को नल से जल के लिए तो राशि का एलोकेशन हो गया है, मनी हैज बीन एलोकेटेड, बट फॉर दिस आल्सो द कंट्री may need 8 to 10 lakh crore rupees or even more if you want to become self-reliant in the water sector. धन्यवाद, आप सभी लोगों को सादर धन्यवाद सुनने के लिए.